Now we'll talk about beta fatty acid oxidation, or simply it is also called beta oxidation. Beta oxidation, from the name it appears that the carbon chain of the triglycerides, the oxidation it happens at the third carbon from the carboxyl group. First carbon from the carboxyl group is called alpha, and the next carbon is beta, and so on. So the oxidation will occur at the beta carbon. So this is why this is called beta oxidation. And as a result of the beta oxidation, क्योंकि ऑक्सीडेशन कार्बन नंबर 3 पे हो रही होगी, तो जो एंड प्रोडक्ट होगा फैटी एसिड में, उसमें 2 कार्बन्स कम होंगे और वो 2 कार्बन्स कम होके एसिटाइल को एंजाइम ए बना देंगे। ठीक है, अभी हम देखेंगे नेक्स्ट स्लाइड्स में कि कैसे है रिएक्शन मैकेनिज्म्स की तरफ जब जाते हैं। The series of reactions is also known as beta oxidation pathway because the major reaction site is the beta carbon or third carbon from the thioester carbon. It happens in the mitochondrial membrane, and the fatty acid must be activated and turned into acetyl coenzyme A. In this cycle, फैटी एसिड एक्टिव फॉर्म में आती है और उसमें एटीपी के 2 मॉलिक्यूल्स यूज़ होते हैं और इसको एसिटाइल को एंजाइम ए में कन्वर्ट किया जाता है। फर्दर डिटेल्स हम नेक्स्ट स्लाइड्स में देखते हैं। लेट्स सी व्हाट हैपेंस हियर। Wow, this it seems little complicated, but it's very easy. After you will learn, once you learn it, it will be easier for you. Here you see this is the cytosol. Inside the cytoplasm, you can see inside the cell, and few reactions are happening here. This is the outer mitochondrial membrane, lipid bilayer membrane, and this is the intermembrane space between the inner mitochondrial membrane and outer mitochondrial membrane, and here is the mitochondrial matrix. Okay, so let's see what type of reactions occur in the cytosol and in the outer mitochondrial membrane, and what happens inside the mitochondrial matrix. Let's see. Fatty acid, it is there in the cell, in the cytoplasm, and through the enzyme acyl coenzyme synthase, and in the presence of ATP is converted into AMP, and 2-pi phosphate molecules are there, and fatty acid gets converted into fatty acyl coenzyme A. This is kind of an active fatty acid now, right? And in the presence of this is the fatty acyl coenzyme A, and in the presence of carnitine, actually the purpose of the carnitine is its travel from the cytoplasm through the lipid bilayer membrane of the outer mitochondrial membrane into the interspace membrane, and then again it helps its transport through the inner mitochondrial membrane into the mitochondrial matrix, and there carnitine is released again. It travels back to take up other activated fatty acyl coenzyme A, okay, to keep up the cycle on. So this is the purpose of the carnitine shown here. And here carnitine, it attaches here and it becomes fatty acyl carnitine, and it can move into through this lipid bilayer membrane, and from going to the intermembrane space, it can enter into the mitochondrial matrix through the transporter chain in the inner mitochondrial membranes, and here carnitine is released, and fatty acyl coenzyme A, this is recovered. This one, the same thing, it is recovered. Okay, this fatty acyl coenzyme A, it goes through the beta oxidation here inside the mitochondrial matrix, producing acetyl coenzyme A, which enters into the Krebs cycle inside the mitochondrial matrix. So let's see how all this happens. Activation of the fatty acid and its transport to mitochondria. Fatty acid along with coenzyme acetyl coenzyme A, and in the presence of ATP it produces these products we have seen earlier, and this is coupled to the cleavage of ATP. This process and acyl coenzyme A synthetase, a family of isozymes specific for short, medium and long chain fatty acids that catalyze production of fatty acyl coenzyme A. These are used. Transported these activated fatty acids, or fatty acyl coenzyme A, these are transported through inner mitochondrial membrane via carnitine. These use specific acyl carnitine transporter proteins. Then beta oxidation, first of three stages of fatty acid oxidation, it happens as such. Stage 1 is the simple beta oxidation and producing 8-acetyl coenzyme A, and all this. Before going into detail of this slide, we will see the steps of beta oxidation actually. So here you see in the first step here there is the dehydrogenation. These are this is example of the palmitoyl coenzyme. This is, I guess, this is carbon 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, maybe perhaps 20 carbon containing fatty acid. 16 here and rest are here, and after activation it gets converted into palmitoyl coenzyme A, and at this point this is alpha carbon and this is beta carbon next to the carbonyl carbon, and then at this place there will be a dehydrogenation. Let's see how it happens. In the presence of acyl coenzyme A, FAD is converted into FADH2, and there is the appearance of double bond here. Dehydrogenation of fatty acyl coenzyme A may to make a trans double bond between alpha and beta carbon. So between alpha and beta carbon there is formation of a double bond, and it happens in short, medium and long chain acyl coenzyme A dehydrogenases are used. Electrons are removed and transferred to FAD to produce FADH2. Similarly, in the next step, hydration of the double bond occurs here. Hydration of this double bond, it will happen. Let's see how. In the presence of enoyl coenzyme A hydratase, water OH is here, and one hydrogen is given here. This is L-beta hydroxyacyl coenzyme A. And in the next step, dehydrogenation of the beta hydroxyl group to ketone. Now beta hydroxyl group, it will be